Good morning, Kings fans. How we feeling this morning? A little bit rough, fresh off of what some are saying, the worst loss of the season. We've got plenty of time to talk about that. That's not necessarily why we are here. We are here right now because it is the NBA trade deadline. 1 hour, just less than an hour left to go in the trade deadline. Will your Sacramento Kings make any moves? Trade deadline is heated up. It's been fast and furious here in about the last 45 minutes. We'll go over all those moves, get to your guys' calls, and we'll see what the Kings do. This is the Kings trade deadline special on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley. That is a major league smush.
Welcome back into the If You Don't Like That studios. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. It's the NBA trade deadline. The Kings, will they make a move? Will they not? Lots of moves have already gone down, some in the West. Some of the Kings competitors vying for one of those playoff spots, one of those top 6 playoff spots, have been active this morning. We'll start going over some of those trades. As you know, QR code right above my shoulder. Take a picture of that if you would like to join the show. Would love to have you. Get your comments, get your takes, get what you want to see today from the Kings. You can also put your comments in the chat. We'll get to those as well. So happy to have you here. Right off the top, Carf, my man, always here on If You Don't Like That. I see lots of moves happening, especially Buddy Hield. Yes, Buddy Hield is on the move. We will get to him in a second. Good point there, Carf. Let's go over some of the trades that have already happened. I'm going to go most recent to later, have already happened previously. Patrick Beverley, the 76ers are sending Patrick Beverley to the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for Cameron Payne and a 2027 second-round pick, according to Woj. So Pat Bev will be on the move. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks, interesting, a name that I've heard thrown around a little bit. Davion Mitchell, Doc Rivers, now taking over the Bucks. Obviously, the Bucks offensively, not the problem. The problem is with their defense. That started when they sent out Drew Holiday before the season started. So the Bucks making a move there. In an effort, the Detroit Pistons, who beat the Kings last night, actually one of the worst losses of the season. Again, give me your takes. We're going to get to those here in a little bit. They have released Detroit Piston Joe Harris. He will become a free agent. The Charlotte Hornets. Now, this is a big move. They are finalizing a trade to send forward PJ Washington. So when I was talking about the West, PJ Washington, a name here in Sacramento that's come up more than a few times. Charlotte sending him to the Dallas Mavericks for Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a lightly protected 2027 first-round pick, according to Woj. The Mavs, traditionally very active at the trade deadline. They were last year. They continue to be this year. Will the Kings make any moves at this point? Still quiet on that front. Now, this one is a move that I talked about this guy many times earlier in the season, Dennis Schroeder. Grant has talked about the Kings getting a veteran point guard, some presence to run that second unit, free Malik Monk up a little bit. Schroeder, an option. Well, Dennis Schroeder, he is on the move. Toronto Raptors sending him and Thaddeus Young to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for point guard Spencer Dinwiddie. So Dinwiddie headed to the Raptors. Schroeder headed to the Brooklyn Nets. Hornets making a few miscellaneous moves, most notably Gordon Hayward headed to Oklahoma City. Gordon Hayward, he's one of those guys. That is a great move for Oklahoma City. It's a low-risk move, in my opinion. You bring in a veteran that, that's a guy before he had that horrific injury that was on his way to, I'm not going to say stardom, but just probably a fringe, maybe a fringe Hall of Fame career if he got on a team, won a title or two. Anyways, I digress. He is going to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder, the Kings will see here in a few nights. I'm going through these. There's so many of these moves. We are still checking in live time if the Kings are going to make a move. We know about this front office with the Kings. And actually, really quick, two moves or a couple of moves that you guys will be interested or Kings fans would be interested. Buddy Hield, he is on the move. He is being traded. And then also, unfortunately, Harry Giles, he has been released by the Nets to make room for their transactions that they have done thus far. I'm checking the reaction on Twitter. A lot of impatient Kings fans is what I'm seeing. The consensus seems to be that you guys want to see a move made. I don't think there's a move out there that makes this team really that much better. You could marginally make this team better. But I think really what this is staying put. If you're Monty McNair and you're the Kings, you're basically holding, I don't want to say you're on like an 18 if you're playing blackjack. Let's use that analogy. You're on an 18, right? Dealer's showing two tens, or dealer's showing a 10, right? So that's the kind of hand that you have with the CBA changing next year. The Kings are set up excellent for the future and positioned well, surprisingly well to make moves. And I think one thing that we're going to see overwhelmingly as this trade deadline approaches, which again, trade deadline 12 o'clock today, Sacramento Kings, will they make a move? Let us know. Give me a call. Hit that QR code above me if you would like to join the show. We're going to get to some of your comments here in just a minute. But again, Kings, in my opinion, stay put, stay pat. My motto for this trade deadline, stay put, don't overpay. So what will the next moves be? Let's get to some more of your comments. Not even a rumor, Adam. This front office traditionally has been, sorry for the pun. Sorry in advance for the pun. They have kept it very close to the vest. We all know Monty loves his sweater vests. So, yeah, not much coming out, but doesn't mean they won't make some type of move. Appreciate you. Listening to work or from work, Carl, Steve H. That might be my boy. I think I know who that is. Definitely the worst loss of the year. So disappointing in so many ways. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Scrubs, Scuba, was getting infrequent minutes, not a ton. Hopefully he can, find his way. I really hope that young man, he deserves it. The kid's got a heart of gold. Adam, Rashawn Holmes going to Wasteland, Washington. Adam reporting Holmes to Washington. And by the way, I want you guys to be active in this conversation. I appreciate all the comments. If you want to call in, please just scan that QR code At the top of the chat, I have also included the link. I will throw that back in the chat right now for you. You can click on that. You don't necessarily have to be on camera, but we would love to have you. Nihai, we lost to the Pistons, and now we're the 7th seed. Yes, we are. Also, Scoob is asking, no changes. Do we change the lineup? If we make no changes, no. I don't think you change the starting lineup at this point. Michael, Caleb Martin, Alex Caruso. Yeah, we're gonna get to Caleb Martin in a second. That is a big move. Xavier, welcome to the show. Fox has a different vibe the last couple of weeks. Yeah, Xavier, go listen to the post-game show last night. Grant and I talked about that in detail. But yeah, he has been a little bit different. Statistics show that. Could you argue that it's not out of character for a member of this Kings team to go through a stretch of being inconsistent? No, it's not out of character. So could just be that, could be more. Who knows until something comes out. We don't want to speculate. So anyways, yeah, let's get back to some of the moves that have gone down thus far. We talked about Caleb Martin was brought up. We will get to that big one as well. Rashawn Holmes, we have hit on. Alec Burks, who torched the Kings last night. He is headed, let's see, the Knicks. He is headed to the New York Knicks, and Quentin Grimes is going to be headed back, and some future second-round picks. House Jr. is being traded. 76ers, they're looking to firm up their lineup with Embiid out due to the knee surgery. We've talked about Hayward. Man, there's so many moves. Kelly Olynyk, the Raptors have acquired Kelly Olynyk. That's a big one as well. Keep your eyes on that. You can go read about that. We talked about Buddy Hield. He is now a Philadelphia 76er. Some news, Miles Bridges, a name that has been controversial to say the least since his return to the NBA. Looks like he's going to be staying put in Charlotte. A lot of franchises likely thinking he is not worth, even though the product, if he can stay on the floor, would benefit your team. What comes with it, the baggage, just not worth it. Very understandable. Hey, Mike, welcome in. No update for the Kings. As of right now, we are monitoring the trade deadline. Kings, no moves at this point. The biggest names, again, that have been on the move. PJ Washington headed to Dallas. That is a big trade. Now, that one, we can break it down a little bit more. I thought Grant Williams was a good piece for Dallas. I really did. But does it hurt their depth? No, because you got PJ and he's going to mesh well. I mean, that's a quasi third piece for them. And then you got Hardaway Jr. as well. So that's the big trade that we are talking about. And then also the big trade coming out of Charlotte. We will get you that right now. Sorry, I am being blown up. It is NBA trade deadline. Doing my best to get this information out. Here we go. The Sacramento Kings, we should talk about this. Caleb Martin. I have not gotten to this. Caleb Martin of the Miami Heat. The Kings, it's being reported by NBA Central. There may be some interest there. But getting back to the Hornets, again, PJ Washington to the Mavericks for Grant Williams, some draft picks, and other considerations. Killian Hayes about to be released. I am not sure, Wade. Good question. We'll see. Anything can happen at the deadline. I mean, really, if any, we are about 44 minutes out from the trade deadline right now. I would expect if a move's going to be made, If the Kings are going to move a player in their rotation, my expectation is that trade would be coming down in the next 15, 20, 25 minutes. I don't think that goes right to the wire. Your small moves, your Kessler Edwards, a lot of those are your at the wire, get them in at the last second. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled to that closely. Getting back to Adam, are we going to be able to keep Monk with the CBA? We can't pay him like another team. If we do not think he's going to give us a discount, why not trade him? Because you can absolutely keep Monk. First off, the Kings can offer him more money because he was under contract here. It's not a ton more, but it is more. Second, I don't think Monk is. We know these guys are getting bags, right? They're getting paid. Monk, he feels like a 20 million guy a year. 20 mil? Disagree? Anybody? I think that's about right for him. So yeah, I don't think I don't think it would be a problem to sign him, and I think he will ultimately stay here if things play out okay. Hayes would be a good pickup along with Harris. Yeah, Joe Harris, saw him last night. Don't trade Monk. I agree. Nye High, we just need another solid big. Yeah. I want to see a big. Speaking of that, I want to see a big that can stretch the floor. That would get me excited, and I think there could be some deals out there. Is Milwaukee, seriously, think about this. Is Milwaukee married to their lineup right now? Doc Rivers seems to have a lot of swing. Could the Kings maneuver a piece from Milwaukee? I can think of a couple pieces right off the top of my head. I mean, if Milwaukee has interest in Davion Mitchell, there could be something there. I'm not reporting there's something there, but certainly could be. And remember, it takes two to tango at the deadline. But yes, I would like to see a solid big. So we just let Monk walk like we did Bogey and get nothing? No. So we're making assumptions. I'm not in the front office. You're not in the front office. We all know how close this front office keeps things to their vest. No, they're not going to. No, come on. They're not going to let him walk. They're not. So stop. Come on. Ryan, what would you consider a successful season with the current roster? I see us being a play-in team. Would a first-round exit or plain exit be a successful season? Thanks for the question, Scuba. I think you got to win a playoff series this year. It's got to be a playoff series, and a play-in does not count to me. That is not a playoff series. So, Daniel, defense is their problem. Defense is their problem, not offense. Think about how many guys they can shoot the rock for that team. Defense is the issue. So I think any team in the NBA could use a Davion Mitchell. I mean, he's not going to play a starting role, but he'll play spot duty, of course. So I disagree there. All right. So let's talk a little bit about last night. The Kings, a lot of people, I've seen some polls on Twitter. I saw Dave's poll saying, or fans answering, that it was the worst loss or something along the worst loss of the season. I did not think it was, but everybody's going to have their own opinion. But I was really interested to see what Fox would say. We talked about De'Aaron and his brief comments, or we got a paraphrased version of those after the game on the post-game show. And it was basically any team can win on any night. And I'm paraphrasing there. So I would have liked to see more from De'Aaron, but Domantas Sabonis had a monster night last night, another double-double, 30 points, just a few assists shy of a triple-double. He was asked the same question, and he was asked why, what is it? Why is it that this Kings team sometimes plays down to their competition? I was interested to see what he says. Here's what Domantas said on that matter.
Just got to come out, and play. We just got to respect, each opponent, no matter who's on the court, and fight for your team, and we got to play to a certain standard that we believe we are.
Hey, Domas.
So I think that's fair. I do think that's fair. You got to play to a certain standard. Sure. I mean, it's a little bit more than what De'Aaron gave us, but I think at the end of the day, it's just that. It's that standard that this team, they, for whatever reason, don't get too high. They don't get too low. Not a bad thing, but it's almost like there's an element of this team not being cerebral. Like, again, playing with their food a little bit. So we'll give them, and this is crazy coming from me, I am going to give them a pass on last night. I am giving them a pass because of the road trip they were coming off. I'm giving them a pass because of the minutes the starters had to play. 1 day off is simply not enough after a 7-day road trip. I know. Yeah, I can see the message now. Ryan, the Clippers had a 7-game road trip. They went 6-1. Yeah, I get it. But last night, if you've watched this team all year, you can't look me in the eye and tell me that you are surprised at what happened last night. So when you say that it was the worst loss of the season, or some people say it's the worst loss of the season, how can it be the worst loss of the season if there's no element of surprise there? I mean, I guess two things can be true at the same time. Maybe both are possible, but we saw it coming. So many people saw it coming. So again, hey, want to get your calls. If you would like to join the show, take a picture of that QR code right there. You can scan it and you can come up. We can talk about the trade deadline. Again, NBA trade deadline, fast approaching, just about 37 minutes left in the deadline. We are monitoring that very closely for your Sacramento Kings. Still not seeing much on the Kings front. Very, very quiet deadline thus far. We get back to your comments. Yeah, we've talked about this, Nye. We've talked about it. I think, and that was kind of my take last night. That was exactly my take. It's the three is always there. Look, I'm not saying I'm a basketball coach. I don't claim to be. Did I play basketball in college? Yes. Have I played the game my entire life? Yes. Okay. I'm not saying any of you are basketball coaches. But what I am saying is when I see that anytime you pass the ball around the wing a few times, anytime you're throwing the ball down low, I mean, think about it. In the first quarter last night, early second quarter, how many dunks did the Kings have? How many shots did they have at the rim? They were dominating inside. Dominating. So I'm not a coach. You're not a coach. But why is no one asking the question, why aren't you playing to those advantages? Why aren't you trying to have a balanced point of attack? Why aren't you trying to go inside first? Your offense plays better inside out. The three's there all night. If you have an advantage down low, bleed it dry. Make the other team work. Make them work. The Kings can either be the hardest team in the NBA to guard, or they are the easiest team in the NBA to guard. So Why is it not being done? That's confusing to me. And again, not a coach, but why? And why is that question not being asked? I would just like to know. So, Nurko, hello, Kings fans. Hope you're having a good day. Hopefully the Kings get somebody good. Yeah, we are staying tuned. 34 minutes and counting, just about 34 flat to the trade deadline. Nothing as of yet to report for the Kings. We've reported some of the bigger deals. We are staying tuned, and we will recap. We will recap all of the deals, or as many of the deals as we can once the trade deadline expires. But as of right now, no big moves for your Kings. Dallas has been active, acquiring PJ Washington. So we will keep watching. My pleasure to do this today. Can I ask your ties to the organization, Grant? Just a lifetime Sacramento Kings fan. Keep up the solid coverage. Appreciate the question, Scuba. Just started in a nutshell. Was a caller to Grant when he was on the air here. Infrequent, not a ton. And our paths crossed after a Jim Rome event. And, I participated some after that. And then after things happened, we just kind of came together. We started talking. He was a guest on my podcast. And then all of this happened. All of you happened. We turned it into, it was going to be a infrequent thing. Any of you that have been with us from the beginning will remember we said we'd do a pregame show for some of the big, or a postgame show for some of the big games. But then it turned into an every night thing. You guys responded great. Awesome comments. Just an amazing response. Best fans in the NBA by far, most loyal fans. Your loyalty to our sponsors, to Grant, it's unreal. So that is kind of how it started, and that's how we are where we are at now. So Wade, jumping back in, absolutely agree. Not the worst loss of the season, although Wade would say the Kings need an alpha. Yes, they do. But the question becomes, how do you integrate an alpha into this? And again, what does it take? For what it's worth, there's some people, and I'm not reporting, there's some I'm getting some inklings that there may be some activity right now behind the scenes from the Kings. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But there could be something in the works right now with the Kings. Obviously, that's it's trade deadline. There could be something in the works, but no, there is some chatter right now that something could be going on. Kings usually lose the first game after the road trip. Yes, they do. Jacob, go watch the post-game show, man. We could do an entire show on the De'Aaron thing, and everybody has a take. Everybody, has an idea of what may have happened, what is happening. But nobody has pinpointed it to this point or been able to source it and report it. So we don't see. We'll see. And Jacob coming back in. I don't think we will trade for anyone, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, Jacob. Trust me, man. With the CBA, I can't reinforce this enough. 1/3 of the NBA, if the new CBA was in effect today, would be in the second apron of the penalty. And when I say the penalty, that's the tax on the team. But now it's not just a tax. There are consequences to your roster, like losing first-round draft picks, the losing, not just first-round draft picks. I could go over the entire list. It's a long conversation. We can talk about it when the deadline passes. But basically, it is going to hinder, unless you will have to have a team. Let's say the Thunder, right? Let's say they were right now 50-1. Okay, they're going to win the championship. Let's say they went all in and they went to get LeBron just to put the icing on the cake, right? You may have teams that do that for one season on an expiring contract to get one championship, but you're not going to be able to live in that area where we've seen teams live with 3 stars on max contracts. I encourage all of you, go listen to Bobby Marks' NBA front office insider for ESPN. Go listen to his video on the Kings trade deadline and what he anticipated may happen, because it will open your eyes. It really will. Not enough people talking about it. They really should. Malik didn't like the booing. Okay, do something about it. Damn right, Alberto. OT, tell your friends. NBA trade deadline right now. Still monitoring. No news that I am seeing at the moment. If you guys see anything, please put it in the chat. Again, and you'll see me infrequently looking down at my phone and maybe stalling for a second because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 devices in front of me and monitoring and getting messages back and forth. So nothing as of yet. Proud of the 5-2 road trip. Yes, indeed. Kings just need to start winning the games that they should. Amen. Amen. James, happy to have you here. Let's see. There we go. Sorry about that. Would the Kings trade for DeRozan and give up Murray? No. I do not see that happening. You look at the Kings core right now. They're young. They're locked in. Keegan's the next part of that. Keegan can play both ways right now. We're seeing that. Now, is his offensive game suffering? Maybe. Is part of Keegan not scoring because Harrison Barnes is getting more shots? Certainly. So there's a combination there, but Keegan is in this team's long-term plan. So nobody on this team is untradeable. Nobody. But it would have to be Giannis. It would have to be anybody at the top of your list. So, by the way, some names that have been really, really hot around Sacramento and hot around the league. Patrick Beverley, we've already talked about him. That was not one of them. I'm sorry. I'm looking up at ESPN. They got a highlight rolling of him. Patrick Beverley, not him, but let's see. Okay. No, I thought I saw a report. All right. Sorry about that. So Pat Bev, we're not talking about him anymore. Who we're talking about is Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, look, Chicago wanted a haul for Alex Caruso, but look at what Charlotte got for PJ. So he's not on the move as of yet. Another name, DeJounte Murray, not on the move as of yet. How would DeJounte fit here in Sacramento? I don't think that would be a bad fit. You talk about Malik Monk. I think Monk would have to be a part of that deal if the Kings were trying to dip their foot in that pool. Let's see. Excel Skincare. What's up? Way to pimp your brand. I'm okay with that. Let's see. Yeah, they've got to win against Denver. Absolutely. Yeah, we already went over that. Do you think there's a lack of leadership on this team this year? Great question. And by the way, 29 minutes in counting to the NBA trade deadline. Keep looking. Keep your eyes peeled. Sorry. if I am sidetracked for 2 quick seconds. Again, looks like there may be a little bit of movement of something going on with the Kings, just a little bit of something. But again, that's a very ambiguous thing to say because it's a trade deadline. So, of course, something is going on. To your question, yes, 100%. And I don't know who's at fault for it. I don't. Sabonis is your emotional leader. Sabonis is your action leader, right? You are following that dude. Energy-wise, Malik Monk, I think, is really your energy. Like well, when I say energy, your balance. Malik Monk is your balance. You have to have balance in a locker room, and he brings levity to that Kings locker room. De'Aaron Fox, where does he fit in? I mean, he's the face of the franchise, but is he the leader of the team? I don't know. Here's what I do know. I know it's a bad idea to have a leadership council when you only have 14 guys, 15 guys on your active roster. I think that's a very poor decision. I think that separates the team. I think there's nothing wrong with having team captains. Nothing at all. You have to have captains. I want to have captains. Hell, that little C that they get on their jersey, that's cool. In football, I always thought those were cool. But you got to have captains, but a leadership committee? It just, how would you feel? How many of you work in an office of 15? What if three of your coworkers met with your management every month, 2 weeks? What if you knew that was going on? And what if it was going on just in front of the team or in front of you in your office, in your conference room? Would that be weird for you? I just think it would. Now, if you're a football team, I get it. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. But 15? I don't know. All right, Kings, trade deadline. 21 minutes in counting. Nothing to report at this moment for your Sacramento Kings, other than there are some whispers that there is some activity. We will see. 21 minutes. We will know 100% whether or not this team's making a move. I do not expect one. But you never know. Monty McNair has surprised us in the past. So, hey, if you have not already, do me a favor and please take a picture of that QR code and subscribe to Grant's YouTube channel. That's where we do stuff like this. Fun shows. You might be watching on X too. And we appreciate you as well. But go there. You can catch replays, and we do exclusive rants, exclusive content. So go check that out. Give us a like. We appreciate all of you that are already subscribed as well. So again, Kings trade deadline fast approaching the 12 o'clock hour. Nothing as of right now coming out of the Sacramento front office. Another team, the Golden State Warriors. What are the Warriors going to do? Are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? The Lakers? We haven't heard the Lakers very much, if at all. They had a huge trade deadline last year. We know what Dallas has done. Adding PJ Washington. What do the Kings do? We're going back to your comments. Hey, and by the way, you can call the show please do hit that QR code up there. Would love to have you in here. You can also put your comments in the chat, just like Nai. Murray is really good, or is really good. Only his second year, only getting better. We don't want to lose. Yeah. So here's the thing. I will die on this hill. Keegan Murray has had a better first to second year improvement than De'Aaron Fox. 100%. De'Aaron Fox's numbers may be better in scoring in other areas. Keegan Murray has had a much better second year than De'Aaron Fox, in my opinion. Not even close. Not even close. What's my opinion of Caleb Martin? I think he'd be a good fit. Again, do you overpay? That's the problem. The Kings, to me, the capital that most teams right now are looking for at the trade deadline is compensation, and not in the way of players. They are looking for draft compensation. And because, again, when I talked about the CBA, if you're just joining us here on If You Don't Like That, I'm Ryan and Sacktown. This is the Kings NBA trade deadline. But you look at the teams that would be in that second apron of the CBA that goes into effect in the spring of this year, they would not be able to use cash considerations in trades anymore when you're in that second apron. So a lot has changed. But going back to Caleb, I do not have an issue with him. I think he is a decent player and would fit well. Kings will get a big man, if anything. I don't know. Will they? I mean, they're not playing Alex Landcarf. I mean, JaVale McGee, I think we maxed JaVale out. I don't know. I don't know. If they do, maybe it's somebody that is more of a project. Excel jumping back in. Are the Harris talks still active? I am not sure. We will see if we hear anything on that. Jacob picking us up here. Lakers not making any moves. Excel anxious. Jacob, Phoenix and Dallas making moves while the Kings stay stagnant. Well, Phoenix had to. Phoenix had zero depth. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Well, okay. What have the Kings done, Jacob? What have the Kings done over and over and over and over other than miss the playoffs for 16 years? That's the only thing that comes to mind. The last 2 years, I think Monty McNair has been very prudent with what he's done and very calculated on how he's made roster moves. And Grant has said very openly about how difficult sometimes it can be to work for that owner. So I would say it's not insanity. You have to. How can you build consistency? You have to do it a few times. This is Monty's second trade deadline. Come on. Yeah, I disagree with that, but I appreciate the take, Jacob. Ryan, at this point in going forward, can Kings beat the Pelicans and the Warriors in a 7-game series? I don't know. I don't think. I would be surprised if the Warriors, very surprised, if the Warriors end up in any type of 7-game series this year. As for the Pelicans, yes. I think the Kings, well, I should say no. I do not think the Kings can beat the Pelicans, not as currently constructed. No, I'm sorry. I said that wrong at first. Adam, Kings can't beat it. Yep. Thanks for picking me up, Adam. I appreciate it. And by the way, you know what? I know we've got 14 minutes till the trade deadline, but there's also 14 minutes till lunchtime. Get over to Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland. That's in the Blue Oaks Town Center. That's Bennett's newest location. I don't need to tell you about the food. And quite frankly, I don't want to make all of you hungry. I'm sure you're getting hungry enough. I'm getting hungry. You know, it's lunchtime. Some redfish, nice BLT, mushroom burger. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. Go check out Bennett's. You don't have to just live in Rockland to check them out. You can go check out the Roseville location, also Sacramento location off of Howe and Fair Oaks. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com for reservations, for menus, and for gift cards, and anything else you may need. I'll tell you, man, Bennett's is my favorite. Grant and I will be frequenting Bennett's when he gets here in just over a few days. So we appreciate all you. You guys know how much we love Brian and the team there at Bennett's. Trade deadline. Here we go. See, I knew it. Here we go. Salad. We're yes, Bennett's. We're gonna start going the Bennett's route. Tell you what, I might go. Brian, if you're listening, if you can hear my voice, Brian, will you please save me a table? I think I'm gonna come after this trade deadline special. So, anyways. Adam up. We're talking about futures. Yes, Doug McDermott to the Pacers. He goes back to the Pacers, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. The Pacers will send the Spurs a future second-round pick. Oh, no. Okay. Yes, Doug McDermott is on the move. DeJounte, we are still no word on DeJounte Murray. No word on your Sacramento Kings. No moves as of yet at the trade deadline. Does not surprise me. I've maintained all along this Kings team. Stay pat. Stay exactly where you are at. Do not sacrifice the future of what you're building to make a run, or you're not going to make a run this year. This Kings, now I'm not saying this Kings team can't make a run, but when you're talking about like 1 seed, you're expected to win the West. That's not going to be the Kings this year, but could they get hot? Absolutely. So if you want to shore up the fringes of this roster, do it. I think, again, don't overpay, or stay put. Don't overpay is my motto. We'll see. I mean, we're coming up right to it. Just about 11 minutes left until the trade deadline. Let's get some audio last night while we continue to monitor the deadline. No moves. Actually, breaking right now, Atlanta Hawks breaking, according to Woj. They are keeping DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray, the subject of a lot of trade talk, will be staying in Atlanta. That is surprising. So the Hawks did not get what they wanted. DeJounte's been fun to watch the last, I would say, month. Hey, maybe he's the guy. Do you move on from Trae Young? What do you guys think about that? I think I don't mind it. I kind of love it if you're Atlanta, but again, I like when teams make those bold moves. Still monitoring the Kings trade deadline. Ryan in Sacktown here. 10-minute warning. Yep, 10-minute warning. The Kings, no moves as of yet. If you're gonna get a move, it's got to be now. It's got to be coming now. You might get a couple moves right after the deadline that are being or were started right before the deadline. But the Kings, they're back against the wall. Monty McNair standing pat with this team, and can you blame him? I can't. The goal was running it back. Nobody promised the Kings fan base or the Kings that they would do better in the rankings this year, that they would make a deeper playoff run. Nobody promised them that. Now, what they did is they ran it back, which is great. Run it back. I'm fine with that, which is exactly why they're not making a big move today, because they ran it back. How much of it is the NBA around this Sacramento Kings team has gotten better? There's a lot of that there. 6 teams, 6 have eclipsed the offensive rating the Kings had last year, which was the highest in NBA history. 6 teams have already eclipsed that this year. So what I'm trying to tell you is take a step back. I mean, there's a lot to be critical of this team. There is. But take a step back and look at it from the 30,000-mile view. It's not a terrible thing if this team does nothing. And again, maybe this team gets a bump at when other teams are recalibrating because they've made moves. Guys are going out, guys are coming in. They've got to integrate. While other teams are doing that, the Kings won't be if they don't make a move. They're going to be perfectly intact as a unit and ready to roll. So do they benefit there after the All-Star or after the trade deadline? If they don't make a move, they very well might. Very well might. Again, 7 minutes left until the NBA trade deadline. No moves for your Sacramento Kings as of right now. A lot of talk about last night and the Kings' loss. Terrible loss to the Detroit Pistons, but not the worst loss of the season. Let's see. Wade, Robin Lopez to Kings. We're supposed to waive him, huh? We will see. I do not have... Oh, we are doing something. Here we go. The Kings. All right. The Milwaukee Bucks are sending Robin Lopez to the Sacramento Kings. Lopez is expected to be waived and become a free agent. Huh. All right. So it's a money move. Let's see. We've got some more reporting. The Bucks are sending cash in the deal. Cash in the deal. Yes, Excel the West is tougher this year. Ben, Kings just wanted some cash. Vivek needed a new car. Maybe the COVID time was tough on the team. Last year, Kings beat the lesser teams. This year, not so much. Peter, they didn't always beat the lesser teams last year. They didn't. That was actually what kept the Kings from winning 50 games last year. The Spurs, they came into the Golden One Center, beat the Kings when the Kings had a chance to clinch the playoffs on their home court. I think the Hornets clipped them, the Raptors. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold there. Getting some inside messages. Jacob coming up a million times. D. Ruiz. No, it doesn't. Terrible take, dude. Terrible. Define suck. You're going to tell me that Kevin Herter's defense stands out to you amongst the rest of this team is sucking? Huh. Maybe you and I can watch film together sometimes, D. I disagree with you, man. In fact, I think Kevin's defense has actually been really well. Look at his plus minus when he's not scoring. His shot and his defense go hand in hand together. If he is scoring the ball, he's typically playing defense well. So I'm not buying into that. Kevin Herter played the best defense last night. What do you? Yeah, okay. So Jacob, maybe you're taking up for me. Maybe you're you're going back at him, clapping back. But yeah, I disagree. D, dude, okay. He gets bullied too much. Kevin Herter does not get bullied more than Domas. No. Also, Kevin, you think about the Kings and you think about the way the NBA is, just the way the game's played in general, the tougher matchups are on the perimeter. That's where the game is played. So, D, man. I appreciate you chatting in, and I will debate you all day on that, but man. I don't think he gets bullied too much. Okay, NBA trade deadline still creeping up. Kings standing tight. We are at 2 minutes, guys and gals. 2 minutes. Let's see. All right, NBA trade deadline. 2 minutes. Yep, still 2 minutes. So this is interesting. I do shout out to ABC 10's Matt George. I do think this is interesting. Spencer Dinwiddie is on the buyout market. Okay. So Spencer Dinwiddie of the Brooklyn Nets, he was traded and he is now on the buyout market. That would be a good move for the Kings. You can get him for a decent price. I like that. Could that play in to what's going on? That has nothing to do with the trade deadline. So have the Kings already made the move that the Kings are going to make at this trade deadline? Are they going to go after Spencer Dinwiddie? If they do, I'm okay with that. I don't think that's bad. This is random, but tell Jerry to hook up Biden with whatever vitamin regimen he's on. Okay, we're going to take the politics out of it, Scuba, because this is sports, not politics, but I get your point. I will do that. Jerry walks every day, and there's nobody that is more just positive. He's an amazing person. So that goes a long way. That goes a long way. But I will let him know. Again, trade deadline. We are less than 1 minute away. The Toronto Raptors keeping Bruce Brown Jr. It looks like the Kings will not make a move at the trade deadline. So the Kings, as of right now, it is 12 o'clock according to my computer. Trade deadline has passed. Your Sacramento Kings staying packed with the team that they have intact. I agree with the move. I do. We'll see what the Kings do. The Kings did make a move. They acquired Robin Lopez. Robin Lopez will be waived by the Kings. According to Woj, the Kings receive cash considerations. And will the Kings go after Spencer Dinwiddie, who is on the open market, according to Woj, as he has been waived. So, all right, get your comments in. I am going to give you a 15, 20, well, I'm going to give you about a 2-3 minute recap of the trade deadline. But first, this is the Kings trade deadline special on If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. The Kings make no moves at the trade deadline affecting the core of their roster. However, they do acquire Robin Lopez from the Milwaukee Bucks. Woj reports Robin Lopez will be waived by the Sacramento Kings. The Kings, in exchange, receive cash considerations. Matt George, ABC 10 reporter and host of the Locked on Kings podcast, reporting Spencer Dinwiddie has been waived. So could there be a correlation there? Could the Kings be looking for somebody on the buyout market? But hey, we're going to get to your comments. We've got the QR code above me. Give me a call. Come in. We can talk about what's next and talk about what the Kings do as the Kings do not make a move on this trade deadline. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. This is the trade deadline special on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter. Stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball.
Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
Hey, welcome back into the Kings trade deadline special. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. The trade deadline has come and passed for your Sacramento Kings, and they do not make any significant moves affecting the core of their roster. They are going to continue running it back with who they got and see what's going to happen. Now, the Kings did make a move today. The Kings did acquire Robin Lopez. Some of you were wishing it was Brooke. Me. As well. They acquire Robin Lopez. According to Woj reports that Robin Lopez will be waived. The Kings received cash considerations. So do the Kings become active on the buyout market? What, if anything, changes after last night to their loss to the Detroit Pistons? And your reaction. I want to get phone calls from you. Please get in here. Let me know what you think about the Kings' moves at the trade deadline, lack of moves. Do you think anything's going to be coming from the buyout market for the Kings? All those questions yet to be answered. There still could be more news coming in. I am going off of ESPN right now. They're updated as of 2:52 online with the Milwaukee trade for the Kings that we talked about. Another name hot at the deadline, DeJounte Murray. He is staying in Atlanta. So that was a name many teams were after. Really quick, because Jacob's bringing up Spencer Dinwiddie, and I talked about him previously. He is available on the buyout market. Looks like, according to reports, according to Jacob, that the Lakers may be interested. And this is one of those things. So I want to make this crystal clear. The Kings not making a move today, not a bad thing, because things like this, Spencer Dinwiddie, teams like the Lakers with the new CBA that's going to effect, they would not be able to sign Spencer Dinwiddie. Or if they did, there would be severe consequences because of the apron. They call them aprons. You can call them levels, whatever you want, that second level that they would be in. So that is notable to what changes next season. And you have to keep those things in mind as to why the Kings did not possibly make a move. But we'll see if they make a move for Dinwiddie, being the Lakers or the Kings. Let's see. Do the Kings need to lose limbs to win a game? No, Night Syndicate. They do not. Eugene, every fan was so excited and hopeful. Huge disappointment. Eugene, I'm going the other way, man. This, to me, is not a disappointment for the Sacramento team. I think this is exactly what everyone expected. I think this was the smart thing for this team to do. This team is, again, I cannot reinforce enough how well set up this team is for the future financially, and how well positioned they are to retain certain people. If you want to talk about Malik Monk, you want to talk about Keegan Murray. Those are the two names you hear the most, but the Kings are going to be just fine. If you were disappointed with the Kings running it back, you are disappointed today. If you understand that this is a building process and you understand that the days in the NBA of teams signing 3 max players, getting big dudes or big names off the street in the buyout market, those days are over. They will be here and there because teams may make a move or take a run just for a 1-year window, a 2-year window, okay? But the days of building towards a championship team like the Denver Nuggets have done, like to a degree, the Oklahoma City Thunder are trying to do, the Kings are following that model. So when you look at success in the NBA and how it's been done as of late, and how it looks like it's going to have to be done in the future, the Kings are sitting really well. Really well. So, the Kings only acquire Robin Lopez. Yes, I don't know if we're going to give that a you don't like that, but we'll leave that to the boss if he wants to throw one. I appreciate it, though, Rich. So, okay, let's get to some more of the moves that were made today. The San Antonio Spurs traded Doug McDermott to the Indiana Pacers for a future second-round pick. These are all reports, most according to Adrian Wojnarowski. Let's see. Gordon Hayward to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is a fairly big one. That's reported by Zach Lowe. Lakers staying pat, as we said. The 76ers are sending Pat Bev to the Milwaukee Bucks for Cameron Payne. So Cam Payne, he's a pretty decent piece and a 2027 second-round pick. Joe Harris was waived by the Pistons. Charlotte Hornets, big trade of the day, in my opinion, acquire the Charlotte Hornets send PJ Washington to the Dallas Mavericks for forward Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a lightly protected 2027 first-round draft pick. So that's a big one. Dennis Schroeder is on the move. He is headed to the Brooklyn Nets. Thaddeus Young is also headed to the Brooklyn Nets. Spencer Dinwiddie to the Raptors. He has been waived, as we've already mentioned. Those are some of the big moves. The Knicks have made some moves today that are notable if you are tracking the Eastern Conference. I am going to focus predominantly on the Western Conference, but I am happy to take any of your questions that you may have on the Eastern Conference. Alec Burks, who you saw last night here in Sacramento. He is headed to the New York Knicks. So if there's some trades that you guys want to talk with, again, Gordon Hayward, that's a big one. He's headed to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Olynyk is headed to the Toronto Raptors. So if there's any trades, Buddy Hield is headed to the Sixers for Marcus Morris. So if there's any specific trades you guys want to talk about, we can go over those. But quiet trade deadline for your Kings. Want to get your thoughts, please. Again, if you would like to call the show, I would love to have you. You can just hit that link right there. If not, we will get back to your comments right now, and we'll talk, and we will see. Look at Matt George's latest tweet, and you'll understand how we feel. Okay, well, I will have to check that out. I get it, Jacob. What do you think about today's inaction, or what do you think it means to the offseason? I think it means the Kings have a long-term plan. If nothing else, this verifies that they've got it. They're keeping it to the vest. I think the one mistake we can't make, Carf, is mistake the Kings' decision not to make a move. We cannot mistake that for inactivity. That does not mean the Kings weren't picking up the phone. They were right in the middle of the Pascal Siakam discussions. So now we get to the offseason. Malik Monk is the priority of the offseason. If he is important or as important to this team as the statistics show us, then Malik will be the priority. Outside of that, it's going to be small moves. I mean, could there be a bigger move? Sure, there could be. And don't forget, Carf, and great question, by the way. Don't forget, the Kings have a lot of flexibility. They have a ton of flexibility with some of their contracts. Harrison Barnes, that's an incredibly friendly contract for the Kings. Kevin Huerter's contract's not bad. So are you going to have some Kings that could walk? Sure. But I think that it's not going to be fireworks. But this team has a plan. I truly believe that. No, Alex, we are not doomed. Scuba Ryan, I will ride or die with our team, but it's disappointing. It won't be our year. I've been waiting since 1989. Please don't let me die without a championship run. Man, God, that kills me, man. That hits home, Scuba, because you hear about like all these fans, like you remember the Boston Red Sox fans, right? And they finally get their championship. I think it was most recently, was it Detroit? Was it Detroit? No, that was just the Lions playoff run. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. But Scuba, this team will make a run. This team's window is just opening up. It really is. But I get it, man. Just because they didn't make a move today doesn't mean that they could not make a run. Let's be clear about that. So, as I said, I want to get your guys' reaction. The trade deadline is over. The Kings do not make any notable moves to the core of the team. We bring in Andrew. Andrew, thanks for joining the show. How you doing today?
Good. Hey, Ryan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. What's going on?
Well, I was really looking forward to something other than a Robin Lopez. I just feel like, the offense, the defense, it's looking stale. It's just looking really stale and kind of stagnant. And I was really hoping for someone like Caruso, someone to just bring some energy, because it just feels like, I don't want to overreact about last night's loss, but the energy is bad. The energy is bad, and the effort isn't there. And a guy like Caruso really could have brought some fire to this team. And it just seems like we need to shake up the locker room somehow, some way. And Robin Lopez is obviously not going to do that. And so what it tells me is Monty McNair knows that we're not going anywhere this year, and we're just going to focus on the off season, and which is kind of disappointing.
I get it. And to the contrary, I mean, I guess my counter question, and I appreciate that. I mean, I really shouldn't even counter it. I should just let that set in. Does that disappointment trump the disappointment you would have felt if they made a move and it would have hurt the team or affected future moves?
I don't think that a move could necessarily hurt us that bad. I mean, we're hanging by a thread here. I think a move needed to be made, and it's just one of those things where we kind of know who we are now, and we're going to be a first round team, and I think the whole organization is aware of that, and it's on to hopefully a big move in the offseason, because we do have a great core and we are a great team. Just some things aren't clicking, and I think it's more of a kind of like a sports psychology thing than it is basketball. It just feels like it's not about basketball. It really is something in the locker room, and things need to be just shaken up a little bit.
Yeah. You know what, Andrew, you bring up a great point. I think it's something that you don't hear a lot of, because I don't think the media asks the questions sometimes enough that need to be asked, but it does feel like it's a personality conflict, because you see this team at times play beautifully. I mean, so then the question becomes, well, what changed between last season and this season? And if it is a personality conflict, how can it be fixed?
Yeah. I don't know. Someone in the chat earlier said something like, we need an alpha. And Fox was that guy. He really was that guy. He seemed like the man. And he was kind of like that floor general that we have been so desperately needing. I don't think that's completely gone away, but as of late, it just doesn't seem that way. And it just feels like we're a little bit lost. We do need an alpha. And if it's not Fox, then we are basically just a bunch of, we're just running around without a leader,
Andrew, it's a great call, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I am looking at the comments right now. What you're saying is hitting home with a lot of Kings fans, and it's kind of the theme of a lot of the comments as well. So I really appreciate you bringing a voice to it. And who knows? Maybe they find a way to surprise us this season. Maybe they still find a way to make a move. Who knows? But we'll stay tuned. And thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, appreciate it. That is Andrew. That was a great call. It really does bring perspective to how you guys are feeling about this. I'm here for it. Trade deadline non-move is driving Kings fans to day drink. Well, Ben, if you're going to day drink, make sure you go to Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland. That's located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. Did you know, Ben, they have over 60 different wines by the glass? 60. And I'm not talking about $2 Chuck. I'm talking Rombauer. I'm talking the good stuff. They've also got great happy hour specials. And if you're not in Rockland, don't worry. Bennett's has a location in Roseville and one in Sacramento off of Howe and Fair Oaks. So, Kings fans, if you are going to day drink, 1, do it responsibly, please. And 2, do it at Bennett's. Go have some fun at Bennett's. Heck, we could go have a little get together. Just we could happy hour our trade deadline woes away. What do you guys think? Yeah. So anyways, Andrew getting a lot of love here on the chat. Yep, Andrew, you hit home, and it's hard. It's hard, and Carf summing it up at this point without any moves. I'm hoping the Kings can even make the playoffs. I think they'll make the playoffs. Well, Carf, here's what I'd say. I think how the Kings come out of this next stretch of basketball before the All-Star break will determine if they make the playoffs. You see Denver a couple times, OKC. This would be the wrong time for the Kings to fall flat on their faces. And again, not making a move. Does that benefit the Kings? There are no moving parts. And again, when I say not making a move, not changing the rotation of this team. Robin Lopez traded to the Kings for cash considerations. He is being waived. So let's see. Yes, I know. I get it, y'all. Eugenio, I understand your point is, Ryan, but we can't bet that in 3 or 4 years we'll be championship caliber. We have to win now in the present. Okay, fair point, but winning doesn't happen overnight. This team is still, until last night's horrid loss, this team was 5th in the West. 5th. So I don't know that it's waiting 3 or 4 years. It takes a little time, and we're not betting, but tell me, if you want to make a list in the chat right now of teams that are better set up, and you know what? Let's qualify this. Small market teams that are better set up than Sacramento, Oklahoma City, and Utah. Name me 3 teams in the NBA better set up than those 3 teams for the future. So I get that you want to win now. I get nothing's promised in the future. I get this is incredibly disappointing. I get all those things, but I'm at least trying to crack the window a little bit and let some daylight in. So hang in there. Yeah, no, let's not go overboard. Yes, we suck when we really suck. Okay, I read it wrong. Yes, they do. That's fair. That is fair. Andrew, can you run the Kings? So we will check. Andrew, I'll see if your name comes up in any of the talks that I hear. Does Veddits have a happy hour? Can I can go to right now? I don't know if they actually have a happy hour right now, but I don't know. Maybe I could make a call to Brian, see if he'll open up happy hour for Kings fans today. Might do it. My pleasure again. I am happy to be here. I get it. Progressive. I understand. That's what we're here for. Gavin, what's up? Welcome in. If the season's about developing the core, they need to go back to giving Keegan more looks. Spot on, Gavin. Spot on. Seems to be all plays for HP on offense lately. It's not that all plays are for HB. It's the Kings don't run very many plays. So when they do run a decent amount of play, or when they do run a play, it sticks out, I should say. So they've made more of a point to get Harrison the ball. There's no doubt about that. But you could still get Keegan more looks. It's a great comment. It has to happen. If you can find a way to get Harrison the looks, you got to get Keegan the looks. Amazing observation by you, Gavin. That's what I'm talking about. In fact, speaking of the loss last night. Let's listen into a little bit from Mike Brown on the loss.
Enough stops to get the win, but it's, there are many times during the season where I could say that I was disappointed in our performance, and tonight is definitely one of them, if not at the top of the list. The way we played the game, especially defensively, was not good. Detroit had their way with us. We couldn't contain the dribble drive. In the ISO situation, we couldn't contain the ball in pick and roll situations. They got downhill and collapsed our defense and sprayed the ball for 3-point shots after going along the baseline. Jaden Ivey he torched us. Jalen Duran, he was a handful. Alec Burke and Sasser off the bench, they got to their spots and created scoring opportunities for themselves time after time after time. Even when we tried to blitz the ball, they just dribbled right around our double team and went downhill, and we had to commit a third guy. And now you're instead of being one short on the perimeter when you blitz, you're two short on the perimeter. But the way we performed defensively, it was not good, and it was concerning. And I told the guys, I said, I hope that this stings. I hope that this stings, because the way we played, there wasn't anything that I could say that was good about it. And I am disappointed in the way we played, and it's unacceptable. And for us to think that it's okay, or to feel like this was a tough one because we came off of a 14-day road trip, that's a bad excuse if any of us think that way. I hope none of us think that way, because we can play better. And at the end of the day, I don't care if we lose the game, because you're going to lose. You're going to lose games. And these guys beat Oklahoma City a few games ago. So you're going to lose games, and you're going to lose games that everybody thinks you should win. But if you lose a basketball game, you at least want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I left it out on the floor. And I don't think many of us can say we can look ourselves in the mirror tonight and that we left it out on the floor.
What do you think about that, Kings fans? I mean, really, what do you think about that? To me, that is the most candid, that is the most spot on answer that this fan base needed to hear, and that this team needed to hear. That is the response of a leader. Now, I'm not calling out De'Aaron Fox. I'm not calling out anybody else on this team by saying this. What I'm saying is that's a leader. That's all I'm saying. So take it for what it's worth. But that is exactly what the Kings need to be doing today. That's what the Kings need to be doing every game of the season. I hope, I really do, that gets through to this Kings team. But at the end of the day, this is a team, again, that's been together now for just about 18 months. The core, and maybe longer, some of the core. Okay? They know each other. They get each other. They play beautiful basketball. They played the best offensive basketball, according to NBA, or offensive rating in NBA history. So they get each other. If you want to think about all the times these teams, or the fans, Kings fans, talk about the 0-2 team. Good looking, Mega. Good looking. Yeah. Shout out to my brother, Boise State grad, and my sister-in-law. But anyways, you think back to those 2002 teams and how close those teams were, right? Well, this team is probably the closest to that, like where the guys have been together the longest, where they seem to get along the most. I mean, compared to the other teams we had the 16 years before. So if there's a group that can figure it out, it's that group. It's this group. And so I understand your frustration with the Kings not making a significant move at the deadline today, but it could more be coming. We will see. Dallas, if we want to talk about the headlines of today, Dallas gets better. I'm with you, Go Dollar. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. That's his natural position. With you. And Go Dollar, he would have mismatches if he was playing the 3. Yeah, with you. Great observation. Anyways, the highlights of today. DeJounte Murray, not on the move. Not on the move. He stays in Atlanta. Your Kings acquire Robin Lopez from the Milwaukee Bucks. He is being waived according to Woj. And the Kings will be receiving cash from the Bucks. So would the Kings be active in the buyout market? Maybe, maybe not. But that sums it up for your Kings as of right now. Sure, we're going to get some more information leaking out as the day goes on. So stay tuned. We'll find out we'll find out more about where the Kings' mind may have been. And ultimately, Monty McNair at some point will have a press conference talking about, or he usually has a press conference in the weeks after the deadline, talking about the Kings' mindset and what they did, what they didn't do. So we will stay tuned for that. Dallas gets PJ Washington in a big deal that makes Dallas considerably better. He comes over from Charlotte for Seth Curry, Williams, and a second-round draft pick. So that is something the Kings will have to contend with. But we will keep our eyes peeled to the landscape of Kings basketball and what happens. But what we know, big stretch of basketball coming up starts with the Denver Nuggets at home. Can the Kings bounce back? Again, I encourage you, go back, listen to Mike Brown at the end of last night's game in the press conference. I really can't echo his comments enough, and hope the Kings take that to heart. But also go look at Bobby Marks. Go check out Bobby Marks's Kings trade deadline special. And don't check it out just because the trade deadline is over. You don't need any information there. I want you to check it out because it talks about how the NBA is changing with the new CBA that comes into effect next year and how that may have played ultimately into the Kings' decision not to make any big moves today. So anyways, that's going to do it for the Kings trade deadline special. I appreciate all of you for being here. I have seen that number stay steady and climb up here in the corner. So I am sorry that you are all disappointed. I am sorry that this comes in light of the Kings having one of their worst losses of the season, or it comes on the morning after. But at the end of the day, I think we'll look back at this trade deadline, and I think a lot of Kings fans will understand why moves were not ultimately made, because the last thing you want to do is force a move. The Kings did really what I hoped they would do, and that was just this: stay put, don't overpay. So anyways, I'm Ryan in Sacktown. We appreciate you so much. Again, please do not forget, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you haven't already, scan that QR code and you can subscribe to Grant's channel. And we will be back. In fact, Grant, I believe, will be back tonight. So put on your notifications if you subscribe already. and join him. I think he's going to do an open forum show talking about the trade deadline. And I'm sure by the time he takes over for me, there will be plenty more news coming out of the front office and coming out of the Kings organization. So anyways, all of you have a very safe day. Remember, Kings fans, if you're going to do your day drinking, as many of you said in the chat, because the Kings didn't make a move, please have a designated driver, and please do it at Bennett's. We'd appreciate it. So anyways, appreciate you guys all. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you back later tonight right here on If You Don't Like That with Grant for an open forum show. Have a great rest of the afternoon. So long.